environment for over 25 years. So I have some experience with school attendance. And that's what we're going to talk about this afternoon. We're going to talk about the laws that everyone should be aware of and made known. Even though we're going through a pandemic in current time, COVID-19 is still here, and our students are not physically in the classroom, we still have laws that we need to adhere to. We can go to the next presentation, next slide, please. So we'd like to remind all parents that all students between the ages of 6 and 18 by law are required to attend school under the Education Code 48200. Students are expected to attend school regularly and on time. Of course, this presentation was made when, for students when they were physically in class. Part of the obligation for parents and guardians are to continue to send their students to school. Well, we know that they're at home right now. It's still your obligation to make sure that they're logged on, that they are currently engaging, that they're present and participating in their class. Next slide, please. So what is considered a valid legal absence? Well, according to Education 48205, it would be a student's illness, and this would not apply to a parent or any other family member. Or it could also be that the student is quarantined by a county or city health officer. And as we know with COVID-19, we've already had situations for students who have already had COVID that have need to be quarantined. And so this would fall under this education code where it is a legal valid absence. Next slide. Also, what would constitute a valid legal absence would be the following. If someone should pass away, and we hope not that this would happen to your family, but in the event it does, it's good to know the legal information and ramifications of it, that if an immediate family member does pass, the student is only allowed 1 day of absence to attend the funeral service in California, and 3 days if you have to leave outside of the state. Also, this would only apply to people that live in your immediate household. So it could apply to if a mom passes away, a father or a sibling, or even a grandparent who happen to be living in the same house. Next slide, please. Also, if your son or daughter is asked to appear in court because they have been subpoenaed, not the parents, but the student, then this is also a valid legal absence. If you happen to belong to a religion or a church and you want your children to participate in a certain spiritual retreat, ceremony, convention, assembly, the law does say that your child may miss 4 hours per semester with prior written request from you and approval from the school as well. The third bullet says that if you also belong to a professional employment where your company does sponsor the Bring Your Daughter or Son to Work Day, because you're a professional, let's say you're a firefighter, you're a police officer, anything in the professional field, and you would like your son or daughter to see what you do for a living, and maybe they would be interested in the future in your career, then we would allow 1 day of absence for that because the district supports this program. Also, too, if someone in your family is going to be deployed or is returning from active military service, now the law has added this part where it says that students can spend time with an immediate family member on active duty when they're deployed home, on leave, or just returned. So what this means is that if you have verification of that this is going to be happening soon in your home, in your household, talk to the school administrator because you can come to an agreement that your children will miss 3 days of school so that you can rebond or spend quality time before he or she is being deployed. Okay, next slide. Also, verification absences that are due to illness or quarantine are allowed, but here's the deal, that the verification for any illness absences can only be verified by the following. So it could be a school/public health nurse, an attendance supervisor, a physician, a teacher, or any other qualified employee that's listed under the Education Code 46011. One thing I'd like for all parents to learn in this presentation, if you could take one thing away from this information today, is that we as parents cannot verify our own children's absences. Once again, only a doctor, a nurse, anybody that's qualified under the school district education code. So it could be a health aide that's at school. It could be a principal, an assistant principal that takes your child's temperature and says, "Oh wait, you have a temperature. You need to go home." So right now, because your children are at home, it does change a little bit, but you still need to provide those doctor's notes. Okay. Let's say if you were to just call in that absence, They will excuse it, but under the eyes of the law, the only ones that will be counted as a valid legal absences are those that you have provided a doctor's note for. Next slide. So what are the consequences for parents and students when a student does not attend school? Well, under the Penal Codes 272 and 270.1 and education codes, the penalties can range from a fine of $50 to $2,500 plus a penalty assessment and can be sentenced up to 1 year in jail. Okay. And these are for parents who fail to send their children to school. And in this case, with being at home, you can still be prosecuted because if you're not ensuring that your child, and we're talking about younger students right now, because for high school students, the judge would look more at the student than the parent, only because the students are older and they can be held more responsible. Okay, even though that ultimately you would be responsible until they reach the age of 18, but as far as prosecuting either the parent or the student, the judge will probably look at the student more than the parents. That's been my experience in 25 years. So once you go to court, then the judge would determine what would be the fines. We can go to the next slide. Hi, Betty. Betty just joined. So here we go. So students who fail to attend school can be criminally prosecuted in juvenile court. Okay, so if we were to go that route, and I say that route because in Azusa there's two routes. One would be going through the juvenile court under Education Code Section 48265.5, and here we see that students can be given up to $100 fine. They can be added community service. So all kinds of things can happen to the student. If the student has already gone through the school attendance review board or the truancy mediation, then there's also other possible outcomes. The vehicle code section needs to be revised because that has been deleted from the law. So before, a student who missed excessive amount of school that was considered to be truant, they would have their license suspended. As of about 2 years ago, I believe that's no longer it's not no longer valid. But there's another route that Azusa students can go to also for fines, and that would be being cited by the police department in Azusa and having to go through our city. The first fine there is $50. The second one is $250, and the third one is $500. So if you live currently in the city of Azusa, your son or daughter is caught being truant. On the third time, it's $500. It's paid at the city. It's paid at the Azusa Light and Water. The third one, because that's attached to your light bill. So there's two ways. So it just depends on the police officer which way he wants to go. Of course, right now kids are at home once again, so that differs a little bit now but of course, if your child is out on the streets between 8:30 and 1:30, they could still be cited under the truancy law for information for all of you to know. Next slide, please. So the best way for parents to avoid any violation of the California compulsory education laws, again, is if your student is ill, either bring them to school to have them verified by school personnel or just take them to the doctor. Simple as that. Keep a copy of the documentation for yourself. I tell parents, if you're coming to the school, bringing us a copy of a doctor's note, protect yourselves. Ask the personnel, the office staff to make you a copy if it's possible. This will help for your records as well. Next slide. What are the best ways again? Well, if there's an ongoing medical condition, these are not the students that should be going through my attendance intervention programs, because students with ongoing medical conditions should be talking to school personnel, should be signing the release of information to the school from your doctor so that the doctor, your son or daughter's doctor, can communicate directly with our district nurse. We currently have 4 district nurses for our 15 schools in Azusa. What we do have is a health aide at each one of our school sites, and they are designated for each school. However, if it's something as serious like cancer, there's so many illnesses that require a registered nurse to be involved, then you need to make sure as a parent that you advocate and that you have a registered nurse involved in a plan that should be written for your child due to the ongoing medical condition. We also recommend that if it's possible for you to schedule medical and dental appointments after school or on school holidays. Seek assistance from a school counselor if you see that your son or daughter is having problems getting them to school. Okay, why? Because the school can direct you to resources that will help you. So that's really important as well for parents to know that Like, for example, Miss Enriquez here and Miss Martinez, they're here to help you with any, if you need to be linked to any programs or any motivational resources that would help your son or daughter. As with COVID-19, we're seeing a lot of increase requests because students are suffering some type of anxiety or even depression. So please, parents, make sure that you reach out so that you know what's available to you and your family. Next slide. And at the end of my presentation, I just want to remind everyone that the best gift we can ever give our kids is regular school attendance, okay? They're not going to remember any tangible gift that we gave them, 10 years from now, but they're going to remember that as a team, as a family, we all work together with the same goal to help your child reach that. They were able to accomplish what they wanted to be at the end of the day, at the end of their career, they got to be who they wanted to achieve. So I want to thank everyone for being here this afternoon. I will take any questions at this time. If anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them along with the Azusa High School staff.
Yes, if you guys want to feel free to click on your microphone if you have a question, or you can always write it in the chat box if you feel comfortable. Either one. Please, and don't be shy. Go ahead and ask your questions. Ms. Mejia, I also know that you do the home visits. Are you doing more home visits? Do you feel more this year than before?
Yes, I do believe that we have an increase in home visits just because education is taking place at home. So that's a really good question. Thank you for asking it. Yes, I have done approximately 60 home visits from August 1st until now. That's just like an average number for you to know. And the reason for that is because a lot of kids are they can't connect to the internet. That could be one reason. Another reason is that the children are not equipped with the computers that they need, or they don't have a hotspot. A few times it's been because children are at home and don't have help from an adult to help them log on. So there's many situations. Every case that I've gone to is different. So once we see that a student is not logging on and they continually are missing, it's our responsibility to go to the homes to find out, to see what are the barriers and how we can help them so that they can overcome these so they can have a successful experience at school. So yes, there is an increase in home visits.
Okay, thank you. I also had another question. Do you know, because we haven't seen our resource officer, but do you know, or have you heard of kids getting tickets while they're out?
I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard of that just yet. I haven't had any communication yet with the resource officer. I think I will be though in the near future because we're still going to hold our SAR meetings at the police department. So I'm sure that maybe for the next time that we meet, I can give you that information.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious.
Yeah, no, it's a good question as well.
Because I know the kids, if they live near, like Taco Bell, I'm sure I'd probably walk over for lunch at Taco Bell.
Yeah, and see some
I don't want to risk
students,
getting
right?
a ticket, so.
Yeah, but they're supposed to still be giving out tickets if they see them out during school time because they know that they should be at home logged on and engaging into their, yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question for Ms. Mejia? Don't be shy.
Well, Maria, if you want to give maybe an experience or an example of that you had mentioned earlier, just we are living in COVID time, so how can a parent, do you know, or have any recommendations? How can a parent support their child or make sure they're connecting to the online classes?
Yeah, we've been having a lot of issues with connectivity, and then also I think one of the biggest challenges that we're seeing now is that many parents have 3, 4, 5 kids trying to connect at the same time. So the bandwidth that they have for their from their internet provider is not enough. And so I know that's been happening a lot with parents that have a lot of kids. And they don't have the space, they don't have the room to accommodate. So the teachers are hearing each other, overlapping. And so it's creating a lot of frustration, to say the least, for the parents. And that's been one of the biggest challenges that I have, that we're trying to see how we can assist parents. That's one of them. And then also different experiences that I've had. I had one little boy that I visited. He's in fifth grade, and he doesn't have anybody there at home with him. When I went out to the house, he was in bed pretending to be on. So that's another issue we're having, is that kids don't want to show their face, but then yet we don't really know if they're there or not. So that's another challenge that we're trying to address as well. Because at this point, the law does not allow us to obligate a student to show their face, to turn on the camera. And so that's a big challenge too, that the district and parents are having trouble too to convince their children to log on. So we've had quite a different experience. Definitely the experiences are different because of COVID-19.
Yes.
Definitely. What I did add in the chat was the link to the parent portal, the
Okay.
Aries portal.
Good job.
I know that parents can check their students' attendance as well through the Aries portal, check to see if there's any unexcused absences,
Mm-hmm.
if they need to touch base, if they were called out, if the student went to the doctor, and how they could double check that all of those absences are excused or
Exactly.
unexcused.
Yeah. And don't forget also too that every student has access to their counselor, right? Via email. There's
Yes.
different ways that they can communicate with their counselor as well. And for parents that need to communicate with counselors, I think that's critical and important, because we know our children better than anyone. So as soon as we see that our kids are losing the motivation and they're not wanting to engage, then we need to reach out, because we see that first at home if we're there with them. I know for high school kids, it might be a little different because parents do need to go out and work, but make sure there's someone there that can, monitor if that's possible. So that would be very helpful as well.
Yes. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
My son has a tardy for 6th period from the beginning when we first started school. And it was when our internet was going back and forth and the Chromebooks were turning on and turning off. Couldn't really figure it out. So we talked to I forgot her name, but she's in charge of attendance. And she said we should talk to the teacher. So we talked to the teacher, but it's still there that it's tardy, that he was tardy. Is there any way to remove it, or what can we do?
Oh, that's a good question.
So when you spoke to the teacher, did the teacher said they were going to change it on their attendance sheet?
He said he would get to it, but he never did.
He never did. Okay. Because I know in the past when kids were physically in school and that would happen, I know that the student would get it in writing. So I think what needs to happen here is that the teacher should have sent it in writing to the school's attendance office, to Miss Gia. I think it's Miss Gia, Miss Castro.
Yes, Miss Castro.
Right, Miss Castro. And then that way she would have changed it on there. But I know that in the past, we only have 5 days to change something on the attendance. And the reason for that, it's because we're audited once a month. And so at this point, I don't know if that's still able to be changed. But for any future errors, if you can ask the teacher to write it and send it to the, via email or however they can do it, to send it to the attendance clerk, then that could definitely be changed if it's within those 5-day window time.
Okay. He did say my son had to email him, so we did.
Okay.
And then we didn't know the process after that. He didn't tell us anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and he might have not known it either, but that's a very good question, though, that you asked.
Yes.
So that's why maybe for now we're not able to change it, but for future, that way you know how to do it.
Okay. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Great question. Thank you very much. Anybody else have a question? So
Okay. Go for it, Letty. Sorry.
real quick. So when a parent calls, like, for example, like if I had a daughter and I said, oh, she's not feeling well today, so that's not a valid absence.
Well, the absence is called in, and all you're doing there as a parent, you're doing your job to call in, but you're just verifying basically where your child's at. And what constitutes a valid legal absence would be that you would provide the school with a doctor's note. Okay. And at this time, because since education is at school and the student can't be checked in, they're not in class, the normal way would be that the health aide would check the student because the student came to school and then started not to feel well. But at this time right now, it would only be a doctor's note. The phone call that you make as a parent, you're just verifying where your child's at. That's a really good question.
Yeah, and also
Because,
real quick,
go ahead.
okay, real quick, I mentioned this in the other meeting that Dr. Gomez has us like in teams, and so we're always calling about attendance. So know that we are watching the students' attendance, and we know it's virtual, we know it's difficult, but when you do get a call, please, feel free to let us know how we can help you out because we know things happen, and we always let the parents know, have your student communicate with that teacher, best way through email. Yes, and if you have to attach Dr. Gomez to the email, feel free to attach, his name to it. But yeah, I mean, we're just here to help however we can. If you guys, need us, Miss Maritza Martinez and I, that's what we're here for. And always use Aries. Aries is really great. And if you need help with that, we're also here to help you out with that as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So any other questions? All right, Miss Mejia. Well, thank you so much. You're welcome to, stick around and hear our information. We're going to go ahead and we're going to continue on because we want to respect everybody's time and also share some very important information, right, Miss Maritza?
That's correct. That's correct.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you,
Moving
Ms. Mejia, once
on.
again. For our parents that are here, thank you so much for taking the time and listening. And we know how busy your lives are right now. But here's some important resource information and what's going on school. So we now have online tutoring from one of our teachers, our math teachers from Azteca High School. So integrated math 1, 2, and 3, and financial literacy. If you were able to join us for chat with the principal, you know that our math grades for our students are quite low and in a place where we're unexpected. So we now have some math tutoring being offered. Thank you so much to our math teachers who are dedicating this time for our students. Mondays from 2 to 3 and Tuesdays through Friday from 2:30 to 3. The codes are through Google Meets. We are sharing this information to our students, and our math teacher who will be conducting this online tutoring will be sharing it in her classrooms as well. So just so parents are aware, math tutoring is now available every day after school. And for any parent that has a student in the English Learners program, is that right, Letty?
Yes.
You as a parent or guardian of that student who is an English learner are also part of an advisory committee, and this committee is called ELAC. So if you have a student under your care that's an English learner, we would love for you to join us for Thursday, November 12th at 9 a.m. for a very important ELAC meeting. We need your voice, we need your leadership skills. You'll be selecting officials to lead this group, this committee, in decisions for your students. So, group decisions for your students. So once again, if you have a student under your care that is an English learner, please join us Thursday, November 12th at 9 a.m. for a very important ELAC meeting. The links will be on our Instagram page, our Facebook page, and you will be contacted with a reminder for this important meeting.
Yes.
Next slide.
Thank you very much.
We also have some resources. As a reminder, the school district is offering 45-minute presentation and discussion on Tuesday, November 10th. So next week at 12 o'clock. Bring your lunch. This is a lunch time from 12 to 12:45. But the topic is preschool milestones and discussing that if you have any children entering preschool and what to expect. And there's also 2 more meetings after that. And December 12th will be a parent partnership in special education. And that will be in the evening from 5:30 to 6:15. And if you didn't know, we are offering for our students during lunchtime on Tuesdays until November 24th, I believe, some mental wellness, some scholar wellness. So students are invited to join for this little workshop with the Wellbeing Center and just discuss important topics. And the topic that's coming up is dealing with feelings and a discussion with teenagers about their feelings, any stress, any anxiety, and how to deal with that in a healthy way to manage that. So if you see your child is handling stress or not handling it very well, remind them that we're on Tuesday, we're having this meeting. They can look up the link, talk to their counselor, and have the invite sent to them, and they can join and sit in and listen if they want, if they're comfortable enough. And the students that participate also are eligible to win a prize at the end of that as well.
Yes.
Next one. And our lunch times, free meals this month are Mondays from 12 to 2. That's where you pick up your meal for the week for your student. This month, we have some days that we will not be serving those meals. So on Monday, November 23rd, we will not be serving those meals. And from Azusa High School, we will not be serving those meals on November 11th, but we will be open November 12th, and we will be open November 23rd, but closed November 25th. So we will be posting this on our social media page as well. It is on Peachjar. It is on the school district website. We will be sending this information out as well. Can we go to the next one, Letty?
Yes.
I thought, I'm sorry, briefly, I thought I had included a slide. The next 2 Wednesdays, I didn't see it. The next 2 Wednesdays, students will not have class. So that's November 11th and November 18th. There is no class for students. Usually on Wednesdays, students have period 2, 4, and 6. Since there will be no class for the next 2 Wednesdays, they will be making up period 2, 4, and 6 on the next 2 Mondays. So on this coming Monday and the following Monday, instead of having period 1 through 6, they will be having period 2, 4, and 6 because they will not have it class on Wednesday for the next 2 weeks. Just a reminder so you're aware, parents, your students will be connecting on Mondays, but they will not be connecting on Wednesday for the next 2 weeks. And that's what I wanted. That was a really important one. I wanted to make sure that you got that information. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. November 11th is Veterans Day, and then November 18th is the Staff Development Day for us. So that's why. And, Maritza's really great about putting all this stuff on our website and on Instagram and everywhere. So please, look it up or call us. Either way, we'd love to give you the information. No worries. So I'm going to continue. Thank you. Yeah, that's a great reminder. Thank you. As you can see, Family Center virtual drop-in hours. So from 12 to 12:30, Miss Opal from 211 and we like to hang out. And Maritza likes to join us as well. But anybody's free to join us and, say hi if you have a question, concern or comment. Join us. We just, Opal and I discussed, how our weekend went. So join us. We're here just to listen to you guys, get to know each other, maybe get to know other parents. Well, we can't do it in person. We're trying to do something virtually, okay? So thank you. Join us every Monday from 12:30, from 12 to 12:30, I'm sorry, through Google Meets, okay? Thank you. And then we have our Cafe Azteca dates, Thursday, November 19th at 3:30. Cafe Azteca is every first and third Thursday of the month. We actually, the 19th, we're going to have chat with the principal. And then, of course, on the 26th, we have no classes, okay? But, you can always follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Azusa Aztecs HS, all right? Then we have 211. Please share this information with your families. I think we'll be sharing some more families during one of our lunch pickups, where we'll have some little cards for you guys, I believe, or more information. But if you guys ever need to contact Ms. Opal, you can see her cell phone number is 626-607-3300, or you can ask us and we can connect you to her, okay? Thank you. And as you can see real quick, Maritza and I are here to support you. You can see our emails and our phone numbers. Feel free, even though I'm working from home 2 days, I still check my phone for messages, and you can always reach me by my email and Miss Maritza as well. We're here to support you guys however we can. Okay, and that concludes our meeting for today. Thank you everybody for joining us. Miss Maritza, do you have anything else?
That's it. Thank you for
All
joining us. Sorry
right,
for
so
going over a little
yes,
bit, but thank you.
thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.